Welcome back, episode 3 of Rauls Wrestling Reviews. I want to thank all the subscribers, all the people showing love on the videos. It's well appreciated. On today's episode, I'm going to be reviewing Wrestlemania 1, you guys. I'm going to get you guys some facts, talk a little bit about how Wrestlemania came about, and then talk about the presenters, the people involved, and then individually rate every single match. We got 9 matches I'm going to be reviewing. So sit back while I review Wrestlemania 1. So Wrestlemania took place March 31st, 1985. 19,121 people were in attendance. It took place at Madison Square Garden, New York City. It's considered to be the greatest wrestling extravaganza ever. Doing your color commentary is Gorilla Monsoon alongside Jesse the Body Ventura. A little bit of background about Wrestlemania, you guys. In 1982, Vince McMahon Jr. purchased WWF at that time from his father. And between 1982 and 1985, Vince McMahon kind of held back and watched his competitors pick up steam, getting popular around the wrestling territories. So in 1985, Vince McMahon saw that he can also pick up steam and wanted to create a wrestling event larger than life, and therefore WrestleMania was born. You guys, I've been to 4 WrestleManias in my lifetime, 12, 23, 24, and 25. You guys, the atmosphere, it is incredible. If you ever get a chance to go to a live event, go. It's actually pretty good. Back to the show. So our ring announcer for this event is Howard Finkel. He introduces and welcomes everybody to the event. He welcomes the person that's going to sing the national anthem, which is none other than Mean Gene Okerlund. You guys, you did a very good job on this. Another presenter for the event was Lord Alfred Hayes. Going into the matches, I'm going to rate them 1 through 5, 1 being really bad, 3 being okay, and 5 being really good. So without further ado, let's get to it. Match number 1, we got Tito Santana versus the Executioner. We go backstage, and Mean Gene is interviewing both competitors. We start off with interviewing the Executioner, where he states that he's going to prove that he's a good wrestler, and his only objective is to injure Tito Santana's leg that was injured by a previous encounter with Greg the Hammer Valentine. Then Mean Gene interviews Tito Santana, and he states that he respects the Executioner, but he has goals for himself and his fans. You guys, overall, a good match, good starter to the pay-per-view. Flying forearm, then a figure 4 for the win for your winner, Tito Santana. A 4 out of 5. Moving on, we have King Kong Bundy, a match number 2 versus Special Delivery Jones. Mean Gene interviews Special Delivery Jones, where he states that he wants you to buy his merchandise, buy into him, and that he will convince you tonight. Moving on, he interviews King Kong Bundy, where he warns SG Jones that big things are coming his way. Overall, one-sided match, you guys. King Kong Bundy basically manhandles him. Avalanche splash in the corner, then goes in for the cover in a record 9 seconds. I rate this a 3 out of 5. Moving on, we have the third match of the night, the Maniac Matt Bourne versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Mean Gene interviews the Maniac Matt Bourne, states that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is too much of a nice person, but therefore will beat him. Second, Mean Gene interviews Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He heard that what the Maniac had to say, that he's going to prove to him and the crowd that he isn't a nice person in the ring. Back and forth match. Eventually, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat makes his way to the top rope. Full body splash. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for the win. I rate this a 4 out of 5. Moving on, we have David Sammartino with Father Bruno Sammartino by his side versus Brutus the Barber Beefcake with manager Luscious Johnny. Mean Gene starts off interviewing David and Bruno Sammartino, where David states that he's been training for this moment all his life and he's ready for Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Mean Gene then interviews Brutus the Barber Beefcake, where he doesn't say anything. Instead, Luscious Johnny interrupts and says that he is a mouthpiece for Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and any questions you have to hold to after the match. Going into the match, you guys, while the introductions are going, and they're walking to the ring, Bruno Sammartino and David Sammartino get a standing ovation from the crowd due to Bruno Sammartino being a hometown hero. Overall, a good Greco-Roman type of match, back and forth. Eventually, Luscious Johnny will get involved and throw David Sammartino into the ring. resulting in Bruno Sammartino coming in to defend his son, resulting in a double disqualification. I give this a 4 out of 5. Moving on, our first championship match of the night, we have the Intercontinental Championship being defended as Greg the Hammer Valentine with manager Jimmy Hart versus Junkyard Dog. Mean Gene interviews the champion, Greg the Hammer, where he states that he's in the best shape of his life and he will prove to Junkyard Dog and the crowd why he is the Intercontinental Champion. Mean Gene then interviews Junkyard Dog, where he says that he's excited for the opportunity and is always looking for something to chew on. Back and forth match, you guys. Towards the midway of the match, Greg the Hammer Valentine rolls up Junkyard Dog using his foot in the middle rope as leverage and goes in for the win. And still Intercontinental Champion Greg the Hammer Valentine. During the win and the confusion, Junkyard Dog approaches the ref. Tino Santana makes his way to the ring and tells the ref what Greg the Hammer Valentine had done. Ultimately, the ref gives in, restarts the match, and starts counting a Greg the Hammer Valentine who is exiting the ring. Greg the Hammer Valentine decides not to come back, resulting in the ref reversing his decision. Winner, but not Intercontinental Champion, Junkyard Dog, 3 out of 5. Moving on, our second championship match of the night. Tag team titles are on the line as Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik, with manager Freddie Blassie, challenged the champions Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo, aka the US Express. Mean Gene starts off interviewing the challengers. Freddie Blassie states that you're looking at the next tag team champions. Interrupted by the Iron Sheik, he says his victory will be for Iran and Russia. Mean Gene then interviews the champs, accompanied by manager Lou Albano. Champs state that they do their talking in the ring, and they're doing this for the U.S. people. Overall, a great tag team match, you guys, back and forth. All around good moves. Ultimately, actions head outside. Barry Windham at one point is facing against the ring when suddenly Iron Sheik hits Windham with Freddie Blassie's cane. Nikolai Volkov goes in for the pins Windham. Winners and new champions, the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. Overall, 4 out of 5, you guys. After the match, Mean Gene interviews the new champs, where they basically said, "I told you so." Freddie Blassie gets questioned by Mean Gene, saying that they use his cane for the victory. Freddie Blassie denies accusations. Mean Gene says this is a controversial win in my eyes. Moving on, we have match number 7. My favorite match of the night, the $15,000 Body Slam Challenge, as the self-proclaimed giant of wrestling, Big John Studd, with manager Bobby the Brain Heenan weighing in at 367 pounds, versus Andre the Giant weighing in at 476 pounds. Mean Gene interviews Big John Studd first, where he walks in carrying a duffel bag, calls the money bait, and says that he's using his bait to draw in a giant. Mean Gene does his best to try to look into the bag. He states that he's the only giant in professional wrestling. Going back to the ring, Howard Finkel is announcing the challenger for this event and the competitors, but he reminds the crowd of the stipulation, which is as follows. The first person to slam their opponent wins. If Big John Studd wins, Andre the Giant must retire from wrestling. But if Andre the Giant were to win, he receives a $15,000 award bag that Big John Studd has. This is a one-sided event, you guys. Andre the Giant dissing punishment to Big John Studd, ultimately slamming Big John Studd for the win for your winner, Andre the Giant. After the match, Andre the Giant asks for the money bag and starts throwing money into the crowd. Eventually, Bobby the Brain Heenan gets mad, steals the bag, and him and Big John Studd head to the dressing room. After the match, Mean Gene interviews Andre, where he states that he did it for the crowd in attendance, not for the money. And now everybody who knows now can realize that I am the real giant of professional wrestling. You see him excited and smiling. I rate it a 4 out of 5. Considered a slam heard around the world. Moving on, we have match number 8. The first ever Rock and Wrestling connection as the women's championship match. Wendy Richard with Cyndi Lauper versus champion Lalani Kai with manager Fabulous Moolah. We start off with Mean Gene interviewing a pumped Cyndi Lauper, who claims that she's been taking manager classes from Captain Lou Albano and is ready. Lauper said that she's going to prove tonight with her person that she's managing, Wendy Richard, who the real champion is. Then we move on to Mean Gene interviewing Fabulous Moolah with champion Lalani Kai. States that they will do whatever it takes to remain champion. As the people are being introduced, the crowd goes wild after hearing Cyndi Lauper's music. This is, you guys, one of a good women's match I've seen in a while, back and forth. Lalani gets on the top rope, attempting to hit Wendy Richard with a flying full body press, misses. Wendy Richard takes advantage, rolls up for the pin. Winner and new champion Wendy Richard. They celebrate in the middle of the ring. Cyndi Lauper attacks Fabulous Moolah. After the match, Mean Gene talks to champion Wendy Richard and Cyndi Lauper and her group. Cyndi Lauper tells everybody, "I told you so. This is what we train for." A 5 out of 5, you guys. Now on to the main event. As Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, accompanied to the ring by Jimmy Snuka, versus Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff with Cowboy Bob Orton. You guys, this is the first Rock and Wrestling celebrity match. So they introduce a special ring announcer, Billy Martin, special timekeeper, Liberace, who eventually does a dance montage in the middle of the ring. And then we have a special outside referee enforcer, the greatest boxer alive, Muhammad Ali, with referee Pat Patterson. You guys, good overall match, back and forth, inside and outside the ring. Everything gets out of control to a point where Piper gets in Muhammad Ali's face. Muhammad Ali tells Piper to calm down. Piper pushes Ali. Ali winds up and pops Piper. Orndorff gets control, puts Hogan in the full Nelson, tells Cowboy Orton to get on top of the rope. If you notice, Cowboy Orton has a cast on his hand, attempts to hit Hogan. Hogan moves to the side. Cowboy misses and hit Orndorff. Hogan for the win. Winners, Mr. T and Hulk Hogan. They invite all the guests to celebrate. Commentary team continues to call this the greatest extravaganza in wrestling today. Then we go to Mean Gene interviewing the winners, Mr. T and Hulk Hogan. Mr. T says that he's been training for this and that wrestling is not for wimps. Hulk Hogan's excited about this. Thanks Jimmy Snuka for being in his corner. I rate this match a 5 out of 5. You guys, this WrestleMania is one of the best WrestleManias out there. I want to take a minute and thank everybody for tuning into this week's episode. I want to thank my 14 subscribers and many more to come. I want to thank the 162 views for both videos, and I hope for this third one. Thanks for the love and support. Any suggestions or any comments you guys have, feel free to reach out to me, message me, text me, call me. I hope everybody tunes in next week as I review another DVD in regards to wrestling. Goodbye, everybody. See you till next week.